We all struggle with sexual impurity. Young, old, male, female, something that is just wired in us. God has given us a desire for sex, but for only one person. That's what it's meant for, is only one person. And it's inside of marriage. It's God's creation, so it's perfect. So of course we're going to struggle with it. He knows how powerful this sin is. That's why he says in 1 Corinthians 6:18, flee fornication. Every sin that a man doeth is without the body, but he that committeth fornication sinneth against his own body. So we got to flee fornication, flee sexual immorality, flee adultery, because God knows we can't take this head on. We're not strong enough. Even the most disciplined and self-willed and strongest person can't take on sexual immorality and this lust, desire, and temptation. We're to flee from it. So the devil knows how difficult this is, and he knows how perfect and beautiful sex is, because it's God's creation. So he can easily warp people into false sex, or committing sex acts outside of marriage, or with other people while you're in a marriage with not your spouse. And then now he's created it to where there's soft porn and sex everywhere. You can't even go on social media without seeing it everywhere. Men and women showing themselves. No modesty. There's no modesty. And we just become calloused over to it. Young people getting into pornography and growing up and become addicted to it. There's no modesty. There's porn everywhere. There's sexual lust and temptations everywhere. Young people starting out watching pornography. How do they get away from it? They're gonna keep watching, and then they're gonna watch two people having sex, and that's the only way they're gonna be able to get aroused, if they're watching other people. So they get married, and they're gonna have to have it on the TV while they and their spouse are trying to have sex just themselves. You don't want that. Or you watch a man and a woman have sex so much on a screen, you become calloused over to that, so you start watching homosexuality. Or you start watching two people hurt each other, put each other in bondage. Is that what God wanted? Look what the devil's done. Look what the devil has done to us. I mean, he has turned something so beautiful and pure, and God intended it in marriage between one person, or one man and one woman, and it's going to be a bliss. And look what he's turned it into. Colossians 3:5. Mortify. Mortify can also be translated to put to death. Put to death, therefore, your members, which are upon the earth: fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affection, evil concupiscence, covetousness, which is idolatry. And that concupiscence is also translated to strong sexual desire. So an evil, strong sexual desire. We're supposed to put all these things to death, mortify them. Because God knows we can't handle these things. We got to get rid of them. We got to flee from sexual immorality. Flee. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you of all the consequences that watching pornography, having sex outside of marriage, having sex in marriage with not your current spouse, all these different things. The consequences are mass. And they're vast, and they're innumerable. And I'm sure you have to have known people that have went through a divorce. I'm not saying that this specific example is because of sexual immorality, but you don't want to go through that. You do not want to go through a divorce. God don't want us to go through a divorce. So what if your future spouse knew you weren't sexually pure? They wouldn't appreciate it. They wouldn't want you to be going down the road you're going. So turn from your sexual impurity and try starting today to be pure. It's never too late. It's never too late. You may think you're just filthy and God will never accept you the way you are. Well, He wants you in all your filthiness. That's how He wants you. None of us are worthy of Him. None of us. No, not one. That's why He sent His Son to die. He sent His Son to die for your porn addiction, for your sex addiction, for your sexual desires with other women besides your current girlfriend, fiance, or spouse. He sent his son to die for those things. So turn to him. Be pure, starting right now. James 1:12. Blessed is the man who endures temptation. Hold on, stay with me. I'm about to give you some encouragement. Blessed is the man who endures temptation. For when he has been approved, he will receive the crown of life, which the Lord has promised to those who love him. If you're trying to quit these desires and these lustful thoughts and these addictions, you can't just quit that. You've got to replace it with God. Because if you're focused on God, you've got God number one in your life, and you're holding on to this unconfessed sin, you've got to focus on him. And you've got to give up these things. That's the only way to beat these addictions and these desires. The only way is through God. Because his power, he can handle it all. Confess your sins, and then he'll start listening to your prayers, and your life will just start looking so much better. It might not be on your timeline, but he's got the perfect life in store for you, so just turn to him. Turn away from the sexual impurity, because it can lead to so many problems. And I promise you, if you're sexually pure, everything will just fall into place, and it will be perfect. And you will have sex the way God intended, and it will be blissful and perfect. So please turn away from your sexual impurity. Be sexually pure. Start today. It's never too late. I hope this is the encouragement you need to start your journey. God bless.